my mind? Would you lose yours with me? You make me wanna melt like butter in the pan. It's hard to keep my cool.
Fucking dead.
Knowing
Why would I pretend
I
I'm
am
fucking
right.
dead?
So let's spend some time.
I need a ride to Jolie's house.
Your love is like music.
I need a ride to Jolie's house. Why are you calling the police? I need a ride to Jolie's house.
We're breaking all the rules. Our star signs don't matter.
Why are you scared of the FBI?
He's trying to prove I need you.
That's assault. You're going to jail.
Get out. Get out.
That's assault. You're going to
Why
jail.
to see you go?
Why would I pretend I'm sucking dick?
This time we just go slow. What truly did my heart, but it's only time apart. And in no time we gon' be right back. Right by my side like a monkey on my back. It's been a ride and we know when it's done. I guess you need the lows to know when you're up.
He's back. Indeed, he is back. He's back to protest his innocence, of course. Jameel Rawls, if you don't know, basically indicted himself. He gang-stalked himself into going to jail by making endless videos all day for years, leading up to him stalking a local neighbourhood girl, or at least expressing such desires which made them and law enforcement and the viewers on YouTube uncomfortable enough to act and stop him because he couldn't stop himself. Now he's back. And you know, we've been watching me Triadich and you know, some of the other people who Jamil view the last few years with enthusiasm, as he popped up here and there with videos now and then, teasing a return. But you know, he never quite looked as lucid as he does now. He was always just like, oh god, you know, he's escaped from the loony bin. They'll have him back in a day or something like that. But he's back and he's like really protesting his innocence and posting pictures of the women that he stalked and went to jail for stalking, which I think might be illegal. We'll have a look. Let's in his own words, I guess, to the big man, Jamil.
I want to talk a little bit about gang stalking and the similarities between gang stalking and the Holocaust, the Holocaust that happened in Europe.
Careful. Whoopi Goldberg just had to apologize. She just had to go on the shame tour. The shame. She thought she was a protected class. It's funny when you know, these African Americans, or I don't know what you call them in England, African English, Afro whatever, Afro Anglo, what the fuck ever. You know, they're so coped up and so full of you know, bravado and enabled by the system, where they think they can just do anything and they just say racism and you know, they'll get away with it. And then they come up against the Jews. And it's like, you know, Whoopi was holed up for a few days there. Apparently she was furious and all this stuff, and now she's sorry. I think they took her on the back and, you know, they showed her what it's all about.
During World War II. Now, me, myself, I had done about 10 years of alternative research, what other people in the past have called conspiracy research. And I never seen anybody follow me or bother me. Nothing ever happened. And for some people just start researching information about 9/11 and things like that on the internet, and they end up getting gang stalked because of the surveillance grid that's on the American public. That never happened to me, but I ended up doing you know, about 6 hours of interviews with a guy named Jordan Maxwell, and
And he completely mind fucked you. I shouldn't laugh because Jordan Maxwell's a piece of shit for doing it. But like, yeah, it was. Hang on, I'll just see if I can do something with this. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand. Noise suppression. I'll try that. There, that's far better. I'm sorry if it was very unlistenable for a second there. I didn't have the noise suppression on. Anyway. Yeah, Jordan Maxwell completely mindfucked this guy, and it was cruel. He's got like a 5-hour interview with Jordan, although I think it's a couple of phone calls scrammed together. To be fair to Jordan, first of all, I don't think Jordan was entirely aware that he was being recorded. Not sure of the laws about that in Jamil's state, but um, it's yeah, Jordan like is completely was just exploitative in that whole thing, and he like Jamil's going to LA to meet him and stuff, which is fair enough, yeah. But Jamil's also like paying him for all this stuff, paying him for interviews, and then Jordan's trying to get Jamil to rent a car as well, which Jordan will then use on a night time because Jamil doesn't drive or was suspended from driving. So basically, he's just Jordan's just going to be able to go around do all of his little swindles. John very much right at this moment, living the life he's brought upon himself. I'm sure he believes in karma. I'm sure that's part of that old religion, Jordan.
and after doing that 6 hours of interviews with him, I went to Los Angeles, California, to meet him. And this guy showed me he was a Freemason. He showed me that he was working with a mafia family.
The Gambinos.
This was all connected with the guy he introduced me to was a Freemason himself, in the mafia, in one of the 5 families of the New York Mafia, and he made references to them working with Skull and Bones and all this stuff.
I love this. Right, listen to this, right? Because this is where I unknowingly was amazing again back in the day. Was when I started calling out I'd saying the stuff about the Gambino family and stuff, and I was completely unaware that Jordan had said these things to Jamil that you're about to hear. That sent him into a paranoid loop.
And so I think the reason why he showed me all this information is because he wanted me to ask to be a Freemason. He kept like saying you have to have protection. You have to have protection. He explained to me who stood in for him as a Freemason, and he kept saying that. He kept showing me more stuff about what he was involved in the occult. And so I never asked to be a Freemason. I saw how unhappy he was and all this stuff. And so at that time, I was staying at the Best Western in Woodland Hills, which is in the San Fernando Valley area of Los Angeles, of the Los Angeles area. And so after meeting him and spending a few days off and on with him, I leave Woodland Hills and I go down to Hollywood Boulevard and stay at the Motel 6, which I usually did anyway. Year after year, I would go to California and stay at that motel on Hollywood Boulevard. I love the Hollywood Boulevard area. Other times,
That was strange.
I would stay in other places, but usually I stay there. And so he asked me where I was at and all this stuff, and being stupid, I told him. I was at Motel 6 on Hollywood Boulevard. And just the sound of his voice was really treacherous, and he tried to trick me into taking all my interviews down. He started saying, well, take your interviews down. We can't have those up. And he started coming up with all these strange reasons why. And at first, I was kind of shocked and scared. I didn't know what to do, so I put them all on private.
What Jamil thinks happens is he was trying to get the interviews taken down so that they could assassinate Jamil. What I think happened was Jordan probably said some things that he really didn't want out there in those interviews. But he didn't want to threaten Jamil legally with you can't legally record and upload that. A, because maybe he can. I'm not sure about the laws. B, most likely because this was still a cow to be milked. Jordan was still making money off this fool. Jamil thought they were friends.
And then when something told me, wait a minute, don't do that. Wait till if you're gonna take these off the air, at least do it till you get home safely. So I put them all back up on the air, and I had video footage of me and him together. And one night at the motel, my mother kept telling me to leave. She kept telling me she had a bad feeling about me staying there and to leave. And so I
What was that movement about? It was it was some sort of indication of something. Again, again, this is just like I'm interpreting this from absolutely nothing. I could be completely wrong, but I just imagine that he was talking to his mother on the phone about like his experiences there, and she's realizing that, oh God, yeah, the schizophrenia's acting up again. Just leave, just get home, just come home, Jamil. Come on.
ended up going down. Something told me to get dressed and go down to the lobby. And I went down there, and there was a mafia guy down there. Okay, and this is after Jordan Maxwell told me what mafia family he belonged to. Introduced me to a man that he took orders from, and this guy had his own business. We went to that business, and we both talked to him and stuff. And Jordan Maxwell had told me a lot about all information, and so, like, what are the odds in today's world of an Italian mafia looking guy showing up to some motel? You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy showed up and he was looking around. He was looking at me strangely, and I walked up to him.
Jamil's just like staring at him. This fucking 6'5" like mulatto. You know, you've seen the pictures of how he was dressed when he went to LA. He had like the big fucking stripy socks on, and the shorts. He looked crazy. And he's just like staring at this dude from across the lobby. The guy's just thinking. The guy's probably once. It's like a spider. It's like what bullshit marine biologists say about sharks. They're more scared of you than you are of them. Doesn't matter much when they're armed with a fucking row of deadly teeth.
Looked at him, and this guy got on the phone and started saying a weird phrase into the phone. Then some woman came down on the elevator and left it with him, and they got in the truck and they left. And I looked outside.
There's a weird dude down in the lobby. Quickly get out here. We need to leave now.
And I saw that there was a car parked, and you can tell the guy in the car. You could look at him and tell this guy was a gang member, a street gang, like a Hispanic street gang member. And so I saw that was some sort of hit to set up on me. They were trying to see what I was doing, if I was going to be exposing the information I was given. I didn't ask to become a Freemason, so they said, well, he's a liability after we showed him all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that was the routine to get me to take my interviews down so they could kill me. And it didn't happen for some reason or another. I guess the guy that was there watching me felt like it wasn't that big of a threat, you know. But Jordan Maxwell set me up to have me killed, you know. And I come back to Michigan,
you know,
Norton Shores, Michigan, which is in the Muskegon, Michigan area. And I started exposing the hit on me through Jordan Maxwell. I started telling everybody how he showed me he was a Freemason. I started explaining all this stuff online, and then I started getting gang stalked. All my neighbors started acting really strange, and then mafia-looking people were showing up in the Lauren Drive neighborhood in Norton Shores. But it was short. But at the end of the time, I'm thinking
that's strange because he's missed out the Greyhound bus to Phoenix, which is where he always attributed him first noticing the gang stalking. And I always like assumed that was some sort of euphemism for, like, you know, going completely fucking crazy. I took a Greyhound bus to Phoenix.
You're like, damn, these motherfuckers are coming here to do a hit on me or something? This is crazy. And this had nothing to do with the mafia. This was gang stalking. They were hiring people that fit that description to use to gang stalk me. And that's the type of things that happen to people in the Freemasons gang stalk them. They mimic you and take things that scare you and use it against you. But at that point, they weren't using really the color coding and the brightening and the gaslighting and the street theater. They weren't doing any of that at first. At first, it was just an attempt to really terrify me and make me think that the mafia was trying to kill me. And so, and I'll tell people what mafia family it was. It was the Gambino crime family.
See? How fucking perfect was it? I scared the shit out of him. He thought I was working with the Gambinos.
And I know the guy's name that Jordan Maxwell introduced me to. You know, I know a lot of information about it. But Anyhow.
Or rather, if I remember correctly, actually, he probably thought that I was mentioning the Gambinos, and that's just going to get him in trouble, because then they're going to think that he said something to me, even though he never actually met them. Jordan Maxwell just showed him one of his scam partners. So yeah, I've got a fucking marker here. Do you want to talk to him a little bit? Bullshit him a bit.
So, I was like sitting there tripping out, and then later on, after I came out, I hid in the house for like a whole month. And my mother, she really thought I was tripping.
Yeah,
and
no
I kept
shit.
telling her, look at those cars. And I kept walking up to the window and seeing cars outside. And I'm thinking I'm catching the people, but in reality, it's the Freemasons who are gang stalking me that want me to see this stuff. So after I realized everything was going on, I didn't come online for a couple months, and then I came back online and told everybody about gang stalking and what it was and what was happening to me. And then I was gang stalked more and more and more, and then a woman across the street from me named Robin Pastucha, Pastucha, she was harassing me and gang stalking me every single day. And
that was was this the summer of Jameel, where Jameel Rawls walked up and down his street every single day and all around Norton Shores, Michigan, with those tiny little, do you know, the pink plastic weights, the workout weights, the little pink plastic ones that women get. I think they were his mother's. And he was just he was determined to I'm going to be Muhammad Ali. He'd gone fucking completely mental. Let's see. Are any of those videos preserved on this channel? Let's have a look. Oh, it's a trip down memory lane, this. Oh, look, there I am, allegedly. There's the Obsoletist, Mexican mafia informant. Oh, shit. He got me, guys. Where is it? It's way back, isn't it, I think? I'm not sure. I used to know it all, but now all the timeline's muddled up in my head. It's been too long. Right, he used that picture a lot. That poor guy. Oh, God. It's killing me. I don't even remember when this summer of Jameel was, that's a problem. It was after it, wasn't it after jail? No, it was before. Nah. I really don't remember. God, look how many videos there are. We could randomly pick a video. That'd be fun. I think that's the summer of Jameel. Look how sunburned he is. 2016, that sounds about right. There's the Burger King shit. I think this is the summer of Jameel. Muhammad Ali beat gang stalking. There it is. It was after, I think it's first, when he first got arrested and he went saw the judge for the first time and he came home and he was all excited. Oh, here's some footage of the shit he was talking about just right then. Oh, when he's hiding in it. This is him hiding in his house. That's him, mate. The blind closing. Oh my god. Jameel. Summer 2018 gang stalk gaslighting footage outside Mercy Healthcare Partners, Muskegon, Michigan. So look at a gang stalking. Oh god. Anyway, let's get back to modern day.
I don't know what kind of alerts they were putting out. If they were saying I was a sex offender, or they were saying I was some sort of community risk.
No, they were saying that you were saying, Jameel, this is what he was saying when he tries to, because he's going to try to bullshit you right now. This is exactly what he actually said, and why the police eventually started interviewing everyone and got involved, was because he was obsessed with this girl off the road. He thought that she was in love with him, but she couldn't express that because her family was holding her back, as they were part of the gang stalking program. But she truly, truly loved him. So he was speaking to her through his videos for months, and he kept approaching them, looking through the windows in the house, shouting at cars outside, basically to the point where she had to have an escort every time she left the house. So she'd arrive and leave and arrive with men. like usually probably a brother or some guy that she knows. And Jameel Rawls was getting more and more agitated, thinking that these men in particular now were like keeping her from him and even forcing her not to look at him when she drove past him in cars, which may or may not have been her. We were never sure because he claimed that like she could drive past him in a car, and then a minute later she'd drive back past him in another car, and it's just like I think he's just like hallucinating, imagining this. Like he was completely schizo, and his mother said it herself. Having like schizophrenic delusions again. She said that in a video right before I called her a hooker. So those are the facts, because eventually he ended up saying on the video that he was gonna drag one of these, or he felt like dragging one of these guys out of the car, and essentially beating the shit out of them. Not the girl, which is what he keeps on saying.Maybe the police said that, whatever, but that's not what he said. Either way, it's his intent was clearly it was getting worse and worse. And he also said many things on videos like, I just want to snatch her and bring her back to the house where she can express her like what she really feels. So keep that in mind when he's about to bullshit you and say, I never said that about no woman, it was a different woman that I was talking about and all this stuff. People are pretty clear. Okay, she had to have an escort to the fucking house, and there was multiple women he was probably stalking, and also there's videos and other websites online, let's just put it that way, of him abusing other women
in some way. But they were sending information to each and every neighbor about me, and having these people come outside and wear specific colors when they came outside. And the woman Robin Pastuca, she had her whole family doing this to me. Like, I remember I was in Hudsonville, Michigan one time, and her family was following me way out there. And so this went on every single day. And going back to what I was saying about the Holocaust happened very slowly. And in America, in today's world, the way people are being singled out and harassed and bullied and gang stalked, and every time they ask questions, people say, are you mentally okay? Are you psychologically okay? It's like anybody who stands up and questions the authorities and questions what's behind this and starts showing evidence and footage and testimonies and interviews and stuff, they get targeted and they get harassed. See what I'm saying? And there's different ways that they harass different individuals.
No, the Jordan Maxwell thing has nothing to do with the fact that once he left your life and you felt scorned and didn't have anything to hold on to anymore and you had not much of a life left, you grasped onto these fantasies and these women around the neighborhood who had no interest in you, Jamil, who maybe were courteous and said hello and smiled, much like Michael Morton. These delusions fuel, thinks, oh, that's love, she loves me. She just can't express it. People are stopping her from expressing it. You fucking deluded.
This went on with me for 4.5 years. And that woman, Robin Pastuca, framed me. She had her daughter, Jamie Pastuca. I think her name is Jamie. Anyway, I met this girl in 2012, and in the summer of 2015, she started following me around everywhere. And so I wanted to know what the fuck was going on. So I ended up sending the girl flowers. And then later on, I made YouTube videos about what was happening. And I talked about her in the YouTube videos.
You got asked by the police to not send her flowers anymore.
Made some videos like talking to her and stuff in the video, saying she didn't have to do this. It was gang stalking. Anyhow, a Norton Shores police detective named Detective Kyle Neer came to my home and arrested me. He said that I tried to pull Robin Pastuca's daughter out of a car, but he said I tried to pull a woman named Amanda Cherry out of a car that never even lived across the street. Their address is 4663 Lauren Drive. Mine was 4650 Lauren.
Your Honor, I did not rape or intend to rape that woman at all. I, in fact, intended to rape another woman. It's a very good Jamil.
Amanda Cherry never lived across the street. I didn't meet her. I never seen her before. I had no information to lead me to believe like this woman even existed. The only time I ever seen her.
That was just it was an example, by the way. Wasn't. I honestly still don't believe. I don't believe that Jameel Rawls was going to rape her or anything like that. I really don't. I think his danger was to the dude. I think he might have like attacked the guy. And maybe like grabbed her and like brought her back to Elsa, and then got like fucking just like what the fuck when she like was screaming. But you know, it's not, not. It's just because you're not actually going to act on anything doesn't mean that it's all right to just, you know, essentially kidnap someone,
at my trial. And so
which he kept talking about.
he arrested me, and their story was that I tried to pull this woman out of a car. Then I sent her flowers, and then I started making YouTube videos about her. That's so fucking crazy. Why would somebody try to pull somebody out of a car and then send them flowers and then make YouTube videos about
No, 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 no. See, he's completely mixing it all up again. He's trying to phrase it with like a certain like you know, series of events there, and that was not the order of events. Okay. The flowers had already been sent. Your obsession had set in. You threatened to take, once it got to a certain point, you were threatening these things on YouTube. A certain internet hero reported it to the Muskegon police. They had a look at your videos and they decided it was enough to fucking go pay you a visit. That's what happened.
Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And so I sent flowers to Robin. Robin has two daughters with red hair that live or did live in that house. One of them name is Samantha Pastuca, and the other one was the girl I sent flowers to. I think her name is Jamie Pastuca. I think that's the name she told me in 2012. Anyhow, I believe that the girl I sent flowers to was the oldest daughter living in the house, or maybe she's a twin of Samantha Pastuca because they both look a lot alike. Then they have another daughter named Michaela Pastuca that's younger than them that has blonde hair. And those were the only daughters I know of. And then she has two sons that were living there. One of them name was Josh. The other one, I don't know what his name was. But, so I had no idea who Amanda Cherry even was. And so at my trial, I said that. I got up there and said, I don't know who this woman is. I didn't send her flowers. And I didn't try to pull her out of a car. I sent the daughter, Jamie Pastuca, that's her name, the redheaded girl, natural redheaded girl that lived there, flowers. That lived there, I sent her flowers. And so I was framed. I went to jail for a year. And then when I got out of jail, these same people were still stalking and harassing me. And this is like really close to the Holocaust, man. That every store I went to, this was happening. The police were doing it. Homeland Security was doing it. When I was, the whole time I was in jail,
something?
I wrote the
It is. That's all I'll say.
FBI several letters. They never contacted me. The harassment that I went through was just continual and continual and continual. In my trial, see, the judge, Raymond J. Kostrava, he knew his job was to frame me. He knew I was being...
These fucking nuts always remember the name of everyone. I'll tell you what, they also remember the name of everyone, the date, and the fucking time. They're all fucking schizos. It's fucking... I'm killing myself watching these people. And now I'm realizing, like, I went away from Jamil. Now I'll get my fix from like Candy Grand Prix. It was just insufferable. And fucking Michael Morton. He was at least funny sometimes, but God, is it sad. It is sad. That is like that is just so sad. It gets sadder by the day. And he's just completely lost it now as well, Michael. Like, I don't think he's ever coming back.
Framed.
He thinks he's Captain fucking America.
They didn't try to send me to prison for many years. I don't know, but they put it as a misdemeanor. Judge Kostrava had a Masonic trial, and Detective Colonier Robin Pastuca and my own lawyer Jeffrey T. Courts all did a Masonic hand over hand stance, a certain sort of stance at the same time in front of Judge Kostrava in his court.
You should have done the Freemasonic fucking the international sign for help, shouldn't you? Stick your hands up, the fucking judge. He wouldn't have known what the fuck to do.
And I sat there and witnessed all this. And so that didn't surprise me that my lawyer was a Mason. But it did kind of surprise me that Robin Pastuca and Detective Colonier were Freemasons. And Robin Pastuca belongs in jail more than anybody I know. That she was allowed to sit there and stalk a man across the street.
I think she was the one that said she didn't find him at all attractive. Legally under oath in a court of law, she said that he was not attractive. He's not an attractive man.
Her family to harass that man and then lie. I don't know what kind of lies she was telling all my neighbors, but she told the jury at my trial that she never followed me, that she never did any sort of behavior like that, surveillancing me. And I saw her continuously do it day in and day out on Lauren Drive. And this is very close to like what the Holocaust is, you know. And that's my story, man. I got gang stalked severely by these people.
Yeah. No. Didn't happen. Needed another little bit of follow-up to that. Whoops. That's bit.
And the gang stalking.
So you ended the video and then he was like, "Oh shit, okay."
Lauren Drive was really intense. Now Lauren Drive is a cul-de-sac subdivision off Heil and Old Grand Haven
Look at these
Road
fucking idiots.
in Norton Shores, Michigan. And so, as soon as you turn on the road, there's a church parking lot, and you can drive straight back to the airport, which is a dead end. It's an airport fence. Or you can go through the cul-de-sac, and about every house in this neighborhood was involved in some way in this community harassment. And I'm not sure if certain individuals were using neighborhood apps or it was like word of mouth. They would come over their house and brief them about this.
Or a YouTube channel.
There's no way that this was going on
that you ran
without the Norton Shores Police Department knowing about it. Everybody on the Norton Shores Police Department that was there at the department, I'm sure.
Oh, shut up. He's just blabbering about his fucking the bullshit gang stalking. We know it's fake. Shut the fuck up. Thoughts about gang stalking in the news? Being framed by gang stalkers? We'll watch this one, because he's looking pretty good.
Okay, and one point I wanted to make.
Oh, he has to speak quietly, because Mommy's in the next room. Turn this up a bit, make sure y'all can hear it at home.
Is during the reign of the Nazis, the first place they went to do experiments was on psychiatric people in psychiatric institutions. In America, during the MK Ultra experiments that became widely publicly known in the 70s, it turned out that the first place that the CIA went to do these mind control experiments was psychiatric institutions, prisons, jails, and people in the military. Okay. And one point I want to get across is just because somebody has been diagnosed with a mental illness, if they actually have that mental illness or not, that doesn't mean that that person is not a victim of organized stalking or gang stalking or whatever you want to call it.
I wonder who you're talking about, Jamil.
That's not going to stop a person from being gang stalked. So there could be people that actually have paranoid schizophrenia or other dementia.
Oh my god, he actually mentioned the one that he has as well. Look at that boobs. You need to start working out again. Jamil.
Mental illnesses, and they're still victims.
But Jamil, let me ask you this, Jamil. Do you not think that maybe it does, though? Like, do you not think that maybe it does actually, like, maybe, like, the reason that you are seeing all this stuff is because of the fucking mental illness? Have you ever thought about that? And the reason that people like me and stuff, they watch hours upon hours of your evidence, and we just don't see it? Because we're just seeing their normal human interaction and seeing things from their point of view. Whereas you're interpreting everybody's opinion. Why am I saying this to you? You're not going to fucking listen.
And
stop trying to help people, Obs.
At psychiatric institutions, you know, again, these people are not criminal investigators. They're not. They're there to determine if you have a mental illness or not. And the same questions that a criminal investigator would be asking to determine if this is a crime that's happening to you is the same questions that's going to be asked to determine if you have a mental illness. So,
Wow.
if you're saying all these people are following me around, my neighbors, even my friends are in on it, the police are involved. You see what I'm saying? That's the same thing that's happening to somebody that's actually a victim.
Brighten it up a bit
stalking.
so you can see it.
So, what determines if the person is crazy or not is a thin line. Like, there's people all over the world who are saying in detail the same exact things. Cars with their brights on in broad daylight. People following.
Yeah, because there's people mentioning it on YouTube. Jamil, if I go outside, right, and I look at, I see it. Oh, look, a car with one headlight. Cars with headlights on in the daytime. Fucking people wearing red. People, I'm not getting this. It's just life. That's what happens. Some cars don't have the headlight on. Modern cars tend to have the brights on, or brighter side lights now than they used to, and they turn on their own automatically. People wear red. And everything else, those are the only things people have, and all the other things are just their own personal irritations, usually led and drawn from their paranoid schizophrenia, and the audible and visual hallucinations as well, which he's had, and Candy Grand Prix has all the time. Not so sure about Michael Martin, but they're irritable. They're really irritable as well. Everything annoys them, and then they interpret that as getting harassed by people. Getting gang stalked.
Their phones are being listened into. And, we're in a world today to where all these government agencies have already told the public for like the last, since 2001 especially, like the last 20 years, the government's been saying the NSA is reading every email. The NSA is recording.
I think that maybe Jamil's like he's taking this like the Holocaust thing real. He's like hiding out right now. It's like Anne Frank. This is, oh my god, Jameel Rawls is the Anne Frank of the fucking gang stalking program. He's hiding out. He hides out all the time. He hid out back in 2016 or whatever it was. 15 in his thing, the first time the Nazis were coming for him, and now he's in here. This is his journal. This fucking YouTube channel's his journal. It just goes on forever and ever. There's disputes over who actually did it, who's actually uploading these videos, seeing as though one of them he was laid in his bed going, "Ghost feet, I like ghost feet," humiliating himself. Oh my god. Bland Frank.
Teams have new surveillance
It was a good try.
To watch the public for terrorism and all this stuff. So, all these agencies that have come forward and say they're intensely watching the public.
Oh my god.
When people say they're being watched,
wow,
everybody says it's not really happening. So how is it that on one end, the government's publicly making it known that they're watching everybody, but on the other end, when people step up and say they're being watched, people are saying everybody tells them it's not happening. Because
you're nobody and you do nothing and you say nothing controversial whatsoever. All right, like nothing. It's all just fucking lactose stuff that normie fucking conservatives believe now. Nothing you say is revolutionary or frightening to the system, Jamil. Okay, you talk about like Freemasons and Jesuits. You might as well be talking about Scientologists. No one gives a fuck. You're not getting targeted. All right, the reason you get targeted is that you had some sort of like secret files from the government, or they suspected you were working with the Iranian secret service, or you were an Iranian nuclear scientist, perhaps, something like that. Like you're not getting, or an FBI agent who people think maybe he's gone wrong. or a politician that they want to send a message to. So, you know, they make it obvious that they're fucking with them. You? Why you? All right? Why Candy Grand Prix? Why all these people, right? And every single one of them, except Michael Morton, because he just uses gang stalking the way that he uses anything else as an excuse for the fuck up of his life. He's not actually, I don't think he's I don't know what he is, but I don't think he is like a paranoid schizophrenic. I think he's just fucking nuts. But how come it affects all these people and all of them just happen to have paranoid schizophrenia? Or it runs in the family, but I don't have it. But, you know, I won't go to the fucking doctors. So it's just that's the other thing, isn't it? Because they always go, how come there's all these people around the world who all experience the same things, and they never go and all have paranoid schizophrenia? Or diagnose it, like, with close relatives, diagnosis of it. It's like, yeah, because, I mean, it's obvious what's going on. That's the one connection they don't want to all fucking look at and be like, oh, shit. We're paranoid schizophrenics, and because we all watch and obsess over these videos, it enters into our fucking delusion. It's a fucking tulpa. It's a fucking tulpa that they've created for themselves. They're gang stalking themselves. The program is self-stalking.
That doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No, it doesn't, Jamil.
So, you know, people have not been properly introduced to the subject of gang stalking.
Oh, God.
And there's a lot of information about cases that are public, but people aren't aware of that because they don't know where to go to get the information. They hear gang stalking and they Google it, and there's a lot of information that you can Google, and they see a couple videos and they think it's not real. You know?
Yeah, because it's not. And almost none of it's convincing.
When I was committed against my will, I had walked a long ways, and a police officer.
It's like it was literally. Right, I'm going to pull a number out of my ass right now because I don't actually remember, but it was something like 37 miles. It was like a ridiculous fucking length to just like walk in the. I think it was like freezing cold as well. I believe it was like snowing because he claimed that he won't tell you this part in the story, of course, but he claimed that a figure, a man, materialized from the snow. Yeah, he won't mention that here because that'll make him sound like a fucking paranoid lunatic.
So he called an ambulance, and the ambulance came and picked me up. And when I got...
There was a man, he materialized from the snow, he just came out. I imagine that was what's happening, and the policeman's like got his one hand out, the other hand on his holster, like, yeah, just calm down, sir, just calm down, just explain carefully, explain slowly to me. Come on, we'll take you to the fucking loony bin.
When I got back to the hospital, a doctor asked me a question, and I told him that I needed a glass of water. Then he asked me another question. I told him I needed a glass of water. Then he
nice and cooperative, then, were you?
Paperwork that there was something wrong with me.
Yeah, yeah, clearly.
You see what I'm saying? And the whole hospital was gang stalking me. Like everywhere I went, from the main hospital to the psychiatric institution connected to the hospital, I was being literally
wheeling him through there. So, oh, you're in the wrong part of the hospital. Please sit in this wheelchair. We'll wheel you through to the care that you need.
Gang stalked through the whole thing, and I was gang stalked all through my court trial.
Wait, you missed out the part where you were sodomized. Remember, he was claiming that he was sodomized in the hospital on my orders. That I ordered the sodomification of him.
Some girl who was stalking me. Like, for people who don't know,
now you know.
I met a woman across the street from me. She lived at 4663 Lauren Drive.
A woman is a very thingy way of saying it, because at one point he was worried that she was underage, and he had to ask her her age. He dubbed her the flower girl. He used like Ariel from the Little Mermaid as a sort of like cartoon representation of her.
Lived at 4650 Lauren Drive, and this is in Norton Shores, Michigan. It's a subdivision off Heil in Old Grand Haven. And back in 2012, I was walking, it's a cul-de-sac neighborhood, and I was walking around the cul-de-sac, minding my own business. And a woman
Minding his own business. Look, this is a man who admitted that he looked through windows at one point.
Came out of the Pastuca family house and introduced herself to me. And I had been I had been seeing her off and on. Like, she would drive by and smile at me and wave, and sometimes I would wave back. And she had a sister named Samantha Pastuca that looked just like her. They even looked like twins. Anyhow, I think she said her name was Jamie. I forgot her name for a long time, but then one day I remembered that I think she said her name was Jamie, because I remember at the time when she told me her name, it made me think of another girl that I knew with that same name. Anyhow, I had talked to her a few times after that. One time she was going to get her hair done, and I had spoken to her for a little bit. Then I had seen her at some woman that lived on the other side of the cul-de-sac named Joanne. She stopped by over there while I was over there. I said hi to her. Anyhow, the woman Joanne had told me that the girl had been raped by a teacher. And then after I heard that, that made me like scared, because the girl was 17 and I was 26, so it made me think to stay away, because I don't know if the teacher actually did that or not. I didn't know the scenario, so I didn't know, because I know there are women out there who, like, especially younger girls, they'll talk to an older guy, then sometimes they'll lie and say the guy did something he didn't do or whatever. So
He's worried about the false fucking rape claim. Like, that's what he just assumes instantly from her.
So I kind of distanced myself away from talking to her. Then in the summer of 2015, when this gang stalking stuff started happening after I did my interview with Jordan Maxwell and exposed him on the internet for all the horrible things they did to me, this girl started following me around every single day.
It was a symbiotic exposure.
This wasn't just one time a day or 2 times a day. This was literally like every fucking day. This would go on. In the neighborhood, out of the neighborhood. I remember going to Grand Haven and be happy.
He was stalking multiple women. Unknowingly, I'll give him that, because he thought he was stalking the same woman, but he'd follow women up like park tracks and stuff, and then claim that they just disappeared and shit like that. And also he was, just go back. He's got all of his videos up. He's stalking his next door neighbor, the cop. I can't remember what he'd referred to him as, like big guy or something like that. And he was he used to fucking film him when he was outside of his window planting stuff in his garden, because Jamil thought it was some sort of, he probably thought it was some sort of fucking like symbol to Jamil, because he's fucking crazy.
Grand Haven, which is a long ways away from where I live.
Grand Haven's not that far away from where you live.
In Grand Rapids, this would be going on.
Oh, Grand. All right.
In downtown Muskegon, eventually Muskegon Heights, this was going on all over the place. And so eventually I wanted to, like, at that time, I wanted to speak to the woman, you know what I'm saying, to figure out what was going on. Why was her family doing this to me? Why were all these neighbors doing this? And, why was she doing this? And so I had sent her some flowers. And then the gang stalking increased. She was following me around even more.
She was following him around. See the words of a paranoid schizophrenic. It's like Candy Grand Prix, where she sees that guy everywhere. Whatever his fucking name is, when she's on the streets, and she's like, he's following me everywhere I go. Meanwhile, all she does is walk around the fucking streets all day. So she bumps into the fucking same people over and over again. See, they're not following you, Jamil. You've got nothing to do, so you just fucking mindlessly walk around.
I really didn't get that. And then in the summer of 2016, I was making videos telling her she didn't have any gang stalking and all that stuff. And the police ended up coming.
Oh my god, he is so full of fucking shit. He was not saying that, so you don't have to gang stalk me and stuff. He was saying stuff like, This is fucking. I can't stand this fucking motherfucker. What a fucking. Is he even delusional, right? Or he's just outright fucking lying like a fucking piece of shit. And I think I know which one it is. I think I know which one it is. What a fucking liar. What a serious fucking. This is. God damn it. I was happy to see you return. And now you're just gonna fucking be starting lying on shit. I shouldn't really. I don't really have time to go back and. But I will do. Because I'm gonna have to fucking bring some stuff back up, aren't I? Might have to have that fucking, that show with Triadich finally. Where we look back through. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the woman, that's that woman who got me the strike.
Okay, I'm not good at this whole video thing and recording.
Oh my god,
But with all this, gang stalking stuff going, I'm thinking, and they'll be like on an aisle over, and they'll start talking about it. Like thinking, should I get this cereal? Oh, we should get that cereal. I can think of a certain brand of something, they'll mention it. And everywhere I go, they always got their phones pointed at me. I don't know how to get... I'm crying. Now I do look like a crazy person.
Poor girl there. She had like paranoid schizophrenia or something, but I did a video on her, and I was quite sympathetic, and I got a strike. It's never gone away either. God, I hope she's alright anyway. But yeah, it's God, look, there's Jameel Rawls fucking smoking cigarettes and shit. I forgot what I was even looking for to disprove. Oh yeah, the fact that he said that she was gang stalking him when he was making videos talking about my love for you is so strong. The dimensions of our connection cannot be if you just talk to me. If you'd please just... It was the saddest thing you'd ever seen in your life. I can't go back that far. He's made too many videos. I'll find it another day. You have to take my word on it. That's the wrong video. That's the wrong video.
The Northern Shores to police, a bunch of police. They came to my house like this was some sort of like bank robbery case or something. There was a bunch of them, and Detective Kyle Neer was like the lead cop in the case. And I found that at my trial he was a Freemason, and Robin Mastuka was a Freemason. And I don't know if they became Freemasons during this time that they were doing this to me, or they were already Freemasons. But he said, "Did you try to pull Robin's daughter out of a car?" And I said, "No, I didn't try to pull anybody out of a car." And so that was their whole case. But instead of it being Jamie Bastuka, the girl that looked like Samantha Bastuka, the one with the red hair that I sent the flowers to, they put Amanda Cherry in the police report. And they said that I approached her car and she was scared, and he was the one who told me that I tried to pull her out of a car. And they said she ran through a red light to get out of the neighborhood. But the funny thing is Amanda Cherry, even according to the police report, never lived in that neighborhood. Amanda Cherry lived in Roosevelt Park, which is a separate city from Northern Shores. Okay, it's still in Muskegon County.
So he's been stalking all these bitches.
But it's a separate city. So...
Women, sorry.
I never saw Amanda Cherry other than at the trial. And I never even heard Amanda Cherry's name other than in the police report at the trial. So that was their story, that I tried to pull Amanda Cherry out of a car.
Oh, that's your story, trying to obfuscate everything again. You spent fucking 2 years offline trying to construct a fucking new narrative around it all.
And that I had sent Amanda Cherry flowers at the Pastuca residence, even though she didn't live there. So why the hell would I try to pull her out of a car and then send her flowers to an address she didn't even live at? How would I even know she was connected to those people? That doesn't make any sense. I guess supposedly she's Robin Pastuca's daughter through a previous marriage or something. I don't know.
You know what, right? If the police said that he tried to pull someone out of the car, right, it is, like, possible that I actually had nothing to do with the police actually arriving at all. I've just thought about this right now. And, you know, I've always, like, claimed that I did. Proudfully, of course. But, I think it's, like, entirely likely that, like, the police probably just ignored my fucking email. Like, they ignored the pleas of the family at the time, by the way. The Stuka family, I guess, who had contacted the police beforehand and received nothing. But Jameel Rawls kept, like, mistaking women in cars as this woman. So, is it entirely unlikely, if he says that the police arrest him for literally attempting to try to fucking pull someone out of the car, that he tried to pull some, like, woman out of a car that wasn't her, this Amanda Cherry woman, and that's what he ended up actually getting arrested for? It's just a thought.
But none of it makes any sense. So I try to pull some woman out of a car, and she runs through a red light to get away. She never makes a police report about that encounter. And then I start sending her flowers to a house across the street that I don't even know, that she doesn't even live in it. How would I even know that she was visiting those people? I never seen her.
So she was visiting those people as well? Be a time where he fucking sees her leaving and grabs her.
And so then they said after I sent the flowers, I was making YouTube videos about her. So this whole case was fabricated by the Bastuka family and by Detective Neer, and God knows who else was involved. I'm very sure that the police department and the Freemasons had came up with this, because that's who was gang stalking me, the Freemasons. Okay. The girl that I sent the flowers to originally, that actually lived at that house, she continued to follow me around over and over again. As soon as I was out of jail the next day. No, that same night I was out of jail, and the next day she was still gang stalking me. So, and at that point I had never been to a psychiatric institution or any of those places. I had never been accused of having a mental illness or anything. It wasn't until these people start stalking me and harassing me, and then I go to the psychiatric institution, and the people that are working there are gang stalking me, and then they're claiming that I have some sort of mental disability or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just went through a series of harassment, getting set up to be killed in California, coming back home, explaining this on the internet, getting gang stalked, followed around by the same girl. All I did was send her flowers and make some YouTube videos. And then they turned around and tried to pull someone out of the car I never even seen in my life before. So this is fucking crazy, you know. And the Judge Raymond J. Castrava, like, he was completely pro-conviction. When I got up on the stand and I said I didn't know Amanda Cherry, that I had sent flowers to the other daughter, he was really upset, but that was the truth. Why bring me in a courtroom and prosecute me for a crime I didn't commit? Like, what the fuck were they getting out of that? And so I spent a year in jail for a crime I didn't even commit. And then when I got out of jail, I had to go back to community mental health under the court order. So I sat there at the community mental health building explaining to these people my YouTube videos, explaining to these people that I was a victim of stalking. See what I'm saying?
No one sees what you're saying, Jamil. And that's all we're doing today. I've had enough of him. So yeah, he's back. That's about as good as it's gonna get from there. We'll see if he makes any more. I'll see you in a bit.